settle in close, my dears, and let me tell you a tale about 3 remarkable bears who lived deep in the whispering woods. There was the great big bear, with a voice like a rumble of distant thunder and paws, as broad as dinner plates. Then there was the middle-sized bear, whose voice was clear and distinct, like a bell in a quiet morning. And finally, the little small bear, with a tiny, squeaky voice, no bigger than a mouse's peep. They lived in a snug little cottage, painted bright blue, with window boxes brimming with red geraniums. Inside, everything was just so. A great big chair for the great big bear, a middle-sized chair for the middle-sized bear, and a dear little chair for the little small bear. They were very particular, these bears, and they loved their home fiercely, keeping it neat and tidy, a true haven in the wild woods. One sunny morning, the 3 bears had made a grand pot of steaming hot porridge for breakfast. Oh, the aroma! It drifted through the cottage, promising warmth and comfort. But when they poured it into their bowls, a great big bowl for the great big bear, a middle-sized bowl for the middle-sized bear, and a dear little bowl for the little small bear, they found it was far too hot to eat straight away. So, being sensible bears, they decided to take a little stroll in the woods while their porridge cooled. They walked arm in arm, the great big bear swinging his cane, the middle-sized bear humming a tune, and the little small bear skipping along, all quite unaware of the curious visitor soon to arrive at their peaceful cottage door. The woods shimmered, birds sang, and the path wound deeper away from home. Now, it so happened that while the bears were out enjoying their morning constitutional, a young girl whose hair shone like spun gold in the sun was wandering through the very same woods. She was a terribly curious child, always peeking behind bushes and through gates, her curiosity often getting the better of her good sense. When she spotted the blue cottage tucked away amongst the trees, her eyes widened. Oh, she thought, who could live in such a darling place? She walked right up to the door and, without a moment's hesitation, or so much as a polite knock, she turned the handle. To her surprise, it wasn't locked. The door swung open slowly, revealing the cozy interior, and into the bear's perfectly ordered home, the little girl stepped. Her presence, a ripple in the quiet morning. Once inside, the first thing that caught the girl's eye, or rather, her nose, was the wonderful smell of porridge. There, on the table, sat 3 bowls, still steaming faintly. Her tummy rumbled, for she hadn't had breakfast yet. First, she tasted the porridge from the great big bear's bowl. "Oh my," she exclaimed, "this is far too hot." Then she tried the middle-sized bear's porridge. "Ugh," she frowned, "this is too cold." But when she took a spoonful from the little small bear's bowl, her eyes lit up. "Ah," she sighed contentedly, "this is just right." And being a rather greedy little girl when left to her own devices, she ate it all up, every last bit, leaving the bowl quite empty for the little small bear. Her hunger satisfied, she looked for a comfortable place to sit. Next, the girl noticed the 3 chairs by the fireplace. Feeling a little tired after her walk and her full belly, she thought she'd try them out. First, she sat in the great big bear's chair. "Oh dear me," she puffed, "this chair is much too hard." It felt like sitting on a block of wood. Then she tried the middle-sized bear's chair. "Goodness gracious," she mumbled. "This chair is far too soft." She sank down so deeply into the cushions that she could barely see over the arms. Finally, she spied the little small bear's chair. A charming little thing, perfectly proportioned. "Now this," she murmured as she settled herself. "This is just right." But alas, she rocked back and forth with such enthusiasm that, with a sudden crack, the bottom of the little chair gave way, and down she tumbled onto the floor. Oh, what a mess, and what a fright for the poor little chair after her little tumble, and still feeling quite sleepy. The curious girl wandered into the bear's bedroom, and there, you see, were 3 beds, all neatly made. First, she tried the great big bear's bed. "Oh, this bed is much too high," she complained, sinking deep into the feather mattress. It felt like climbing a mountain. Then she tried the middle-sized bear's bed. "Goodness," she yawned, "this bed is far too low." It was so hard and flat, she felt like she was sleeping on the floor. But then she saw the little small bear's bed, tucked away in the corner, a cozy little nook. "Ah," she sighed as she snuggled down, "this bed is just right." And with a gentle sigh, her eyelids grew heavy, and she drifted off to sleep, curled up in the little bear's bed, dreaming sweet dreams. Not long after, the 3 bears returned from their walk, refreshed and ready for breakfast. But as they entered their cottage, they sensed something was amiss. The great big bear looked at his bowl and rumbled, "Somebody has been tasting my porridge." The middle-sized bear looked at her bowl and said, "Somebody has been tasting my porridge." And the little small bear, with a tiny, heartbroken squeak, cried, "Somebody has been tasting my porridge and has eaten it all up." Then they saw the chairs. The great big bear boomed, "Somebody has been sitting in my chair." The middle-sized bear said, "Somebody has been sitting in my chair." And the little small bear whimpered, "Somebody has been sitting in my chair and has broken it all to pieces." When they went into the bedroom, the great big bear roared, "Somebody has been lying in my bed." The middle-sized bear said, "Somebody has been lying in my bed." And the little small bear, his voice trembling, gasped, "Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is still." The girl woke with a fright, saw the 3 bears, and in a flash she leaped out of bed, sprang through the open window, and ran as fast as her legs could carry her, never once looking back. And the 3 bears, a little shaken, but glad to have their peaceful home to themselves once more, quietly put everything back in its place, grateful for their cozy, undisturbed sanctuary.